Alright, hello guys, how's it going? In today's video, we're going to be talking about an upcoming big cooldown here that's coming up for the month of October. Now, before I get started with this video, though, I would ask that you do subscribe if you do like weather-related content, and also make sure to share this video with your friends, family, and social media. I'd also ask that you check out our very exciting Patreon page in the description and the pinned comment down below. Anyways, for today's comment of the day, I want to know, now that we're on the final day of September, how has your September gone in your area, ranked 1 out of 10, I guess, and let me know why in the comments down below. Anyway, let's get into this video, and first things first, we're going to get right into our temperature anomalies. We're basically just going to take this day by day. This is our European ensemble model, and we're taking a look at today. So, September 30th, all the way through into tonight, so this is going to be the final day of September. As you can see, we do have some colder air already around, especially for the southeast, also up in through the Great Lakes, the Ohio Valley, the upper Midwest. But you can see there is plenty of warm air out there, especially for the West Coast, and then also in through New England and portions of the Great Plains. We kind of have the cold north and south of the Great Plains with some warm in the middle there. So what we're going to do here is we're just going to move on, and we're going to take a look at October 1st. And as you can see, some colder air does arrive for the upper Midwest, and finally that's our actual big cool down showing up. You can see areas in the plains, the Ohio Valley, Great Lakes, really cool compared to normal. Along the East Coast, especially from the Northeast and the Mid-Atlantic, we are going to see some warmer than normal conditions briefly for a day or two to begin October, but the cold is going to arrive. We can see the cold is still sticking around for the Southeast as well, so basically just the Mid-Atlantic and the Northeast are a little bit above normal, and then obviously the western third of the country. Now what we're going to do here is we're going to move on, and we're going to take a look at October 2nd, and then 3rd, and then 4th, and then we're just going to keep going in that fashion. We're also going to look at the entire month of October on some of our more extended models towards the end of the video, so stay tuned for that. So here we are by October 2nd, and as you can see, we actually see a lot more of those greens begin to show up, which is indicating about 10 to 15 degrees below average Fahrenheit, so we're seeing very far below normal temperatures. As you can see, again, the east is slowly starting to cool down. This is going to be a little bit more of an inland cool down. This is pretty frequent. We do see this from time to time, especially with the type of pattern we're in right now, where we see some warmer waters offshore, obviously. Earlier in the fall, it's going to be harder to get those very cold temperatures up near the coast. So there's many factors at play here, but the cold will reach the East Coast eventually, just not immediately. But as far as further inland goes, we can see again, in the deeper blues, that's where you're, 5 to maybe 10 degrees below average. And then in the green, that's where you're 10 to 15 degrees below average. So that's where I would say you're far below average temperatures. All right, and then the West Coast, obviously, we still see that positive PNA, which is helping to feed that colder air into the eastern half of the United States. We see that huge ridge out west that really encourages a trough in the east, and we're seeing that play out right here before our eyes. What we're going to do here is we're just going to move on towards October 3rd, 4th, 5th, like I said, and then again, we're going to take a look at the entire month as a whole, actually kind of take it week by week on some of our other more extended models. All right, now here we are taking a look at what's going to be October 3rd, and as you can see, those blues reach the East Coast. I told you guys it would happen, so by the time we're at Saturday and through Sunday, so later the weekend, we're really going to see the cold temperatures take hold. We see those greens have moved all the way down to the Gulf states, all the way up through the Great Lakes, which is going to be significantly colder in the Great Lakes, obviously. Very far below normal temperatures, pretty widespread throughout all of those green areas. As you get to the brighter greens, that's where you're closer to maybe 15 degrees below average. So, for instance, if your average temperature is 70, well, you're going to be at 55. So that's a significant difference there. So I just wanted to put that into perspective, just how cold this air really is going to be, especially compared to normal. Even if you're in the darker blues, I mean, you're 7 to maybe 10 degrees below average, which if your average is 70, you're going to be a lot closer down to 60. So still very significant either way, no matter how you write it up. All right, now what we're going to do here is we're just going to move on, and let's take a look at Sunday the 4th. Is going to be Sunday the 4th through later into that evening. And as you can see, the upper Midwest has most of those greens by that point. Down by the Gulf states, it kind of recedes a little bit back up north. The Great Lakes a little bit warmer this day, but still in the greens, so still 10 to 15 degrees below average, so it's hardly warmer. The East Coast still dealing with those lighter blues, which is going to be more in terms, I would say, closer to 5 degrees below average. If your average temperature is 75, you'll be down to 70. So it's going to be a little bit of a more pleasant, less brutal cool down for you guys, and me included. So, it's going to be a little bit different whether you're along the coast or further inland, obviously. What we're going to do here is we're just going to move on. We're going to move on towards the 5th. Then we'll take a look at the 6th, 7th, 8th, as we see the cooldown kind of come to an end, and then we're going to start taking a look at it in more of weekly increments after that point. All right, now here we are by the 5th, like I said before, and this is going to be a Monday, so we're starting a new week by this point. As you can see, along the East Coast, mostly average, closer to average, a little bit below normal, but really just going to be quite typical, I would say, for this time of year, early October, for New England, the Mid-Atlantic, the Northeast. By the way, if you have any fall foliage, I know a lot of fall foliage is happening a lot earlier, send it to my Instagram. The Instagram is in the description down below. I've been posting those on my story. I'm trying to get more of those early fall foliage pictures. So DM my Instagram down there, direct weather. It should be direct_weather. I think, but you can click the link in the description too. DM me those pictures. I'll be posting those on the story. I love seeing those. So we're seeing those greens kind of dip a little bit further south by this frame, and it's still pretty potent. Again, 10 to 15 degrees below average, becoming a little less widespread, so that potency of the cooldown is lowering by this point. And then as we move towards the 6th through the 7th, it really loses its potency as we hardly see any greens anymore. Down there for portions of Mississippi, Louisiana, Arkansas, where you're going to maybe have around 10 degrees below average. And we can see those warmer temperatures out west are spreading further and further. That's the ensemble model. We have multiple members kind of disagreeing, so you start to see it spread out. That probably indicates that some are keeping it by the coast and then some are bringing it more towards the central United States. So some disagreement there. And then by time we're at the 7th through the 8th, so into the beginning of the 8th, we see that there's only a little bit of a cooldown left over, and that's for the southeastern portion of the United States by this point. That warm-up is really spreading out. Again, that's likely due to the ensemble model getting a little bit of a disagreement there. We see that very, very frequently. And then by the time we reach the 10th, it's kind of all over the place, warm for the entire United States. Usually ensemble models do this later on in the run, so I'm thinking somewhere is going to be cold, whether it's the western United States or the eastern United States, but I highly doubt the entire United States will be this far above normal. Very, very highly unlikely. So what we're going to just do here is we're going to move on, and we're actually going to take a look at one more frame on the European model, just to show where it kind of disagrees with that a little bit. And then we're going to start taking a look at those weekly increments, like I said before, kind of take a look at the overall month of October here. So as you can see here, we're taking a look at what we would call the actual European model. This is not an ensemble model, this is just one model's opinion. So as you can see, for that same portion that the European ensemble model was calling for full-blown warm over the entire United States, you can see the European model is doing a lot more of what I said, where there's going to be cold somewhere, whether it's in the east or the west. This case, it's both actually, and then kind of warm in the central regions there. That's because this is not an ensemble model, so this model never disagrees with itself because it's only one opinion, you see? So it will never show 2 things or 3 things or 4 things all at once like an ensemble model would have a tendency to actually do very, very frequently once you get into the more long range. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at those weekly increments. I hope that made a lot of sense. We're taking a look at our CFS model, and this is the 1st through the 8th, so our first week of October. Looking quite cold for the eastern United States and quite warm for the western United States. We already saw that, though, so that shouldn't be news. That first week is going to be probably one of the furthest below normal of the entire month of October, if not the furthest below normal. Then we see the 8th through the 15th, which is a lot more moderated here. We see some cold out west for the western United States and still some for the southeastern United States as well. But just like our European model, not the ensemble model, but the actual one showed, more of a central United States warm up and then a cool down on both ends of the coasts there. And then as you can see here, by the time we're taking a look at the 15th through the 22nd, it kind of has that cold return for the eastern United States, and we're seeing a little bit more warm out west. So we might close out the final half of the month the same way we started it out in the first week of October. This is obviously getting further out, so the confidence is a little bit lower, so take it with a grain of salt. although this does seem like the kind of pattern that we've been in for a month or two, so usually that trend will usually continue and try to come back multiple times before it's all said and done. And then by the time we're reaching the 22nd through the 29th, it kind of does the same exact thing it did. It's cold out west, cold in the southeast, and then a little bit of warmth showing up for the northeast and more of the central United States as well, including the Rockies. Very, very interesting setup we have here, and I can't wait to see how it's going to play out. The thing we're the most confident in is that first week of October coming up is going to be below normal temperatures in the eastern United States. Anyway, for today's comment of the day, I asked you guys, what do you think is going to happen with that tropical cyclone that we talked about yesterday, the new tropical cyclone that is upcoming? And Vermont Railfan 555 said, I don't really know much as of right now, but I am guessing it could reach tropical storm status. I just need more info to get my prediction, and obviously that's a very smart route to go. And usually once these storms have not developed yet, it's very, very hard to form an accurate opinion. That's why you might notice when these storms are very much earlier in their development phases, I don't really give too much of a big opinion. I'll give a range of, okay, this could become a tropical depression, or it has some potential to become a hurricane, but you'll never hear me say, like, I really feel like this one's going to be a category 2. It's just not a very smart way to go. Anyway, for today's Patreon highlight of the day, I want to thank you all for supporting this channel, but especially our Diamond patrons, Alicia Davis, Mad Burge, Dan Hazard, Cindy Klein, Mark J, and Larry LePan, as well as our Platinum patron, Donna Carnes. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Again, be sure to share it with your friends, family, and social media, and we'll see you guys in the next video.